You're listening to The Upland Rookie, a podcast presented by Upland Brits. What's going on, rookies, and welcome to episode 26 of the Upland Rookie Podcast. I'm your host, Will Larson, and as always, this is presented by Upland Brits. Also brought to you by Eukanuba Sporting Dog. If you want to get everything your dog's got, then you need nutrition that holds nothing back. Check out the new Eukanuba Premium Performance lineup at eukanubasportingdog.com. Also brought to you by Trinity Bretons, now offering the Trinity Upland Academy to help each Trinity Breton client attain and develop the highest level of training available with George Hickox. Trinity Bretons offers puppies, Trinity Upland Academy, started dogs, stud services, you name it. They are good people. Hit them up at trinitybretons.com. Also brought to you by Gunner Kennels, some of the best kennels I have ever used. Man's best kennel for man's best friend. Check out Gunner Kennels at gunnerkennels.com. All right, friends, we are diving right into today's episode. Thank you for tuning in again. Thank you for subscribing to this podcast and making this a part of your upland hunting podcast library. Really thankful. You've joined me on this journey, so cannot thank you enough. Just a reminder, I will stop doing these eventually, but just a reminder to please leave a rating and review on Apple Podcast. Those mean a ton, but they also help serve the algorithm gods. Yes, they make the algorithm gods happy and help get the podcast out there to more people just like you. So would love a rating and review over on Apple Podcasts if you can. Thank you in advance. Also, as always, share this podcast when the episodes release. If you share it in your story, make a post about it, whatever it might be, just letting people know what you're enjoying about the podcast, help spread the word. There might be someone out there who's never heard of this before. Maybe someone's just getting into upland hunting, and maybe this could serve them well in some way or another. So those two things, thank you. Hey, we're in October. I hope you're doing well. I hope most seasons are open to some degree or another. I know pheasant just opened in Montana and North Dakota. Congrats to everyone up there chasing roosters. Hope you're doing well. Send me your stories. Send me what's going on. Send me, just, hey, how's it going for you up there? Would love to hear what your opening weekend has been like. Some of the rest of us, I know Kansas, Nebraska's going to wait till the end of October. Kansas has to wait till November. Colorado's November. A couple other ones. We have some time to kill. But I did get out on, I would say, kind of a bucket list hunt, chasing the prairie chickens this past week. Had a ton of fun. Went out with a previous podcast guest I had on a while back, Clayton from Rogue House. His Rogue House is Instagram. Went out with Clayton, his wife, and his son, and had such a blast sharing a field with Clayton and his family and his dogs. All short hairs, all fantastic dogs. He's got two great females, Rogue and Oakley, and then the new pup Clyde. Got to hunt with him, and man, that's gonna be a big pup right there. And he worked really well, stayed out in front, and we had a great time chasing chickens. So overall, just got one chicken the whole day, but it was a memorable one for me. It was a really special bird. again, you've probably heard me say this before, but growing up, I thought there was pheasant. That was it. Then I heard about there's quail. I was like, oh, there's quail. Growing up in Illinois, like I didn't have a ton of exposure to the uplands, and that's all I thought there was. I didn't know there was prairie chickens and grouse and woodcock and sage grouse and sharptail, all those things. So as I started learning about different birds, prairie chicken's been on my list for a while, a few years now, and at first I was like, what the hell is a prairie chicken? The more I've learned about it, just really was high on my list to find a prairie chicken. Well, lo and behold, Friday we got out there, and the area we were in, I kind of thought there could be sharptails or chickens. I knew there could be chickens. I kind of thought, hey, there might be sharptail in here. So when Gage went on point, we were standing and taking a break. We saw one bird flush, and I was like, oh, it's probably a Sharpie. I just wasn't even thinking it was possible to get a chicken. I know they're difficult to hunt. There's not many. It's a hard bird to hunt. And so I was like, oh, it's probably a Sharpie. I didn't hear the Sharpie laugh though. They have a very distinct laugh when they flush, but still I thought, it's probably a Sharpie. So we kind of change course, go this direction. Gage goes on point. Bird gets up to my right and shoot it. It's down. And I was no doubt in my mind. I was like, oh, it's probably a Sharpie. It's awesome. I'm so excited. As Gage is bringing this bird back, I realize it's a chicken. And I shot my first prairie chicken ever. Over my own dog, over Gage, over a great point. He brought it back. It was just a really, just like, you could not ask for a more picture perfect experience, I would say. We saw probably about 10 or 12 birds total. They were up ahead a little bit more. They flushed. Clayton took a shot, a little bit out of range. But all that to say, that even that one bird was special. It wasn't about a limit of prairie chickens. It was about finding them, honestly. So I went into that hunt telling myself, I said, if we can even find them, if I can just see a prairie chicken, that was going to be my goal for the day. That was going to be my, hey, I'll leave here happy if I can at least find them. At least I'll know they're here. At least we had maybe a chance. That was the goal. And I've talked about making goals before, realistic expectations for yourself, your dog, all that kind of stuff. And so that was the goal. So to meet that and exceed it, to be able to harvest a bird was super special. And so just keep that in mind as you are heading into maybe chasing pheasants this week or coming up here in a few weeks. Like, what is your goal? Have you ever hunted birds before, and kind of set your expectations accordingly? Maybe you're going in blind somewhere and you've never hunted an area. Is your goal just to find them, like it was mine this past week with the prairie chicken? So think through kind of, what those goals are going to be as you're coming up to a hunt you have. The other reason it was special is it was I shot it on the 3-year anniversary of my dad passing, and again, him and I, we'd hunt, we'd fish, we did a lot together, and so it was super special as well, being able to the experience I had, the bird, my dog, that experience on a day like that was pretty hard to beat. I was thinking about that on the drive home Friday night, and I was like, this bird's for Dad for sure. This bird is for Dad. And so, yeah, guys, cherish your loved ones out there. I know I don't want to get too deep here on this, but whether it's your husband, your wife, your parents, your kids, whoever's in your life, and that means a lot to you guys, cherish them. We don't know how many days we have with our family. We don't know a lot, and so really cherish the time that we have with them in the field. Whether even our dogs, I've talked about dogs before. We only get so many hunting seasons with them. So, anyways, overall great hunt. Again, guys, going into your hunts coming up here, have fun, be safe, And don't forget to journal. Journaling has been something I've really taken up this year on hunting, and just trying to document and capture some of these stories, some of these things that are happening in the fields that I'm sharing, or people I'm sharing the fields with. Something I've wanted to do before, just have not sat down and done it, but it's going to be something cool you can look back on years and years to come and say, oh yeah, I remember that hunt. I remember that day we got, our first, whatever. I remember that day, we took our kids out and they shot their first bird, or they walked their first field, whatever that's going to be for you. I think writing that down, capturing that in a story form, it can be short. It can be super short. But I think that can be a really powerful thing for our kids or whoever tunes in and wants to read that. So anyways, guys, I think that's all I got for you today. I got a great episode on tap. We got Doug Davis of Pointer Upland Life. Doug and I reached out to Doug, several months ago, or maybe late spring, and he was posting some videos of his working his dog, and I asked him about kind of the breaking process. This is when I just was about to start that with Gage, and Doug and I jumped on a phone call just a few days later, and he was just sharing his knowledge and experience and kind of coaching me along on what to do, what to expect, and we really hit it off. And so Doug's been a guest I've wanted to get on here for quite a long time, and this is a good conversation here. I think you'll really enjoy it. But yeah, you guys have a great week. Have fun, be safe, and let me know how you're doing chasing roosters if the season is open for you. All right, friends, enjoy episode 26 with Doug Davis.
Exactly. Correct. And my garage is in rough shape right now. Don't judge me. I'm very sensitive about my garage. Very sensitive.
So am I.
Yeah.
It's like it starts getting all cluttery, and I'm like, okay.
No,
it's time to reorganize.
I usually clean it probably once a week, and I haven't. We got a bunch of like baby stuff in here right now. It's insane, but I'm a little sensitive. Oh man,
I'm trying to get my stuff in totes and everything, so when I leave to go hunting and I want to camp out, I can literally just grab it and throw it in the truck.
Yeah, that's the smart way to go.
So trying to get there.
You'll get there because you got the new. Hey, does your phone have a camera by chance?
Well, yeah, it does. How do I make it? You can't see me?
I can't see you. I can hear you though. Hit there should be something that says like start video.
Yeah, that came on and I hit it. Nothing's happening.
Let me try one more time. I can hear you great, but I just can't. It's not a big deal if I can't see you, but.
Wait, hold on a second. Oh, I just lost it. It came up and it left. Where'd it go?
There it goes.
Woohoo!
Hey, there we go. Now I can see you. I'm not used to doing this without seeing the person, so it's.
Yeah, I thought you could see me the entire time. Sorry about that.
I was just staring at a blank screen. So
we do Zoom meetings at work, and I always just turn off the camera. I'm like, I don't want you to look at me while we're having a
totally.
meeting.
I want to be doing other stuff. I want to be looking at Onyx and while I'm in my meeting. Oh, that's awesome. But no, you got the new is it the Forerunner pretty recently?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I got I love it, man. I haven't done any 4-wheel drive in it yet to really test it out. But I had them, they put a big old basket rack on the top.
Nice.
And you put the back seats down, tons of room. So I should be fine. Hoping I'll be fine.
Oh, you'll be good.
Hoping I'll be fine.
Throw Charlie back there and just go. The thing
it's nice because it's, he's got AC or heat. So he's
climate controlled.
He's good to go. I noticed do you have on the fans, you have the Ryobi fans?
Yeah.
Is that, how's that working?
It's been great. Summertime.
Batteries last.
Yeah. So summertime, I always open up both side windows, obviously, of the topper. And I got the bigger, I had the smaller Ryobi batteries, and they weren't lasting super long, a couple hours. So I got these really heavy duty Ryobis. I forget how big they are, but I can get about 24 hours out of them on low speed.
Like
Continuous. So summertime, when it's really hot out here, I'll leave them running from like 8 p.m. until the morning. They're still going. And then throughout the day. So I've gotten about probably 24 hours out of a battery.
Oh, wow. Well, so my Forerunner in the back, it has a 120 plug and it has a cigarette lighter plug.
Oh, nice.
So I won't even have to have a battery if I don't want to.
Yeah, you could just plug it right in.
But the nice thing I was thinking about is getting that is if you decided to go camping and it got a little warm, if you did something in the summertime, you can flip that sucker on, you get a little breeze going.
For sure. Because those fans also have a male end plug on the back. So you just plug an extension cord into that, female end into the Ryobi, and then just plug it into to whatever you got. And it's, it can work that way too.
Oh, yeah, nice.
So they're pretty sweet. Nice. Like $30 I think for a fan. Batteries are expensive, but
cool. Yeah. All right, batteries. Cool. I'll look into that
for sure. Well, let's just jump in. You go with that? Let's just jump in. So
let's have some fun.
So let's start off. Tell us who you are and just give us a little intro of who you are and put us on a map. Where are you?
Okay, my name is Doug Davis, and I am living in Mesa, Arizona. That's about 15 miles east of Phoenix, Arizona. A little more rural. I can literally be out hunting quail in 5 minutes.
Jealous
from my house. And I got some state trust land not too far from my house, so 5-minute drive and I'm there.
That's awesome.
So it's pretty.
That's fun. Great. How long have you been hunting upland birds?
So I started hunting upland birds. I think I was probably about 28, 29 years old. So yeah.
Okay. So a while.
Yeah, I started a little later than most people.
I think we call you an adult onset hunter. That's the term.
Yeah. It's an interesting story how I got into upland hunting.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, let's kind of dive into that. What kind of brought you? What kind of, I guess, sucked you into? Because you're pretty far down the path, I feel.
Yeah. So, I mean, I grew up on a farm, and we ran a ranch, but didn't do a ton of hunting, just because we were busy running the farm and the ranch. But I mean, we'd go out all the time and hunt rabbits, squirrels, coyotes, stuff like that. That was about it. So, after I grew up, out of that, my dad sold the ranch, and I moved down here to Mesa, and kind of got out of hunting for a while. Wasn't really doing much, living in the city. And so I got married, and my wife's brother was a big hunter, and so I started going out with him, and we hunting deer and stuff like that. So, but anyway, one day we went to this outdoor show, and they had this booth there for a place for hunting pheasants and chucker on a pheasant. It was a farm, leased land. You know, you go out there and you pay your dues, and they throw birds out there, and you go hunt them up. So we're like, hey, this would be a lot of fun. Let's go check this place out. So we made arrangements to go out there, and we show up, and the guy's like, okay, how many birds do you want to hunt? Oh, like, throw 8 or 9 birds out there. And they're like, okay, got a dog? No dog. You don't have any dog? No, nothing. Like, okay, well, he goes, I got pointers out here, so we can do that. And we're like, well, we were just kind of thinking we were just going to run up and down the fields and do it on our own. And like guys looking at us like, all right, go for it. And so we did. He put the birds out there, and I think we walked up and down that field for 45 minutes, an hour, and we couldn't find a pheasant anywhere. So we go back up to the guy's place with our heads down and our tails between our legs. And, yeah, we're going to need a dog. And most of my experience with dogs was labs, flushing dogs, and that was most of my knowledge of hunting dogs. So anyway, this guy comes and brings out two of his. He had an English pointer and a German short-hair pointer. And he comes out there and puts these dogs to work, and within minutes, these dogs are on point, and goes up there and flushes the bird, and we shoot, and the dog retrieves them. And at that point, I looked at my brother-in-law and I said, I'm in love. This is what I want to do. This is what I like. So probably within a year, I had pointers.
Dang.
And you got to understand, back then there was no social media. There was none of that. So everything I was reading books and watching videos, buying videos. You look through the hunting magazines and you scroll through the back of the magazine, and there's ads for hunting training videos and training books. And so that's what I did is I ordered books and started trying to figure out how to train my first dog.
Yeah. So those dogs, it sounds like they really kind of were that light bulb switch for you. Once you saw those dogs work and what they could do, sounds like that was kind of like that moment where you're just like, all right.
That was my first experience and exposure to pointers and seeing what they could do. And just the whole thing, just watching the dogs working and I think them going on point is the biggest thing that captured my interest. Is just, for the first time ever seeing it, it was just like, oh, I gotta have a pointer.
Just there's that beautiful kind of dance or relationship when you're out there with a dog that just, it's hard to describe to someone who hasn't seen it. Cause I was very similar. Started hunting on a preserve with my dad, and it was the dogs that hooked me in, seeing what they could do and how they did it, how they worked the field, how they held a bird, all those little things. It was like art watching it kind of unfold.
Oh yeah. It's awesome. It's, I think I still, after all these years, I still can't get over it. I mean, you'd be out hunting quail and just the whole experience of your dog finally getting on quail and going on point, and the whole covey rise and the flush. I'd forget to shoot because I'm so excited in the moment about watching the dog and the birds flushing up, and I'm like, oh, I should have shot.
But you got to see the dog on point, so that's always good.
but I got to see the dog on point. It was really cool.
All is not lost. All is not lost. So you went from hunting at 28, getting your first bird dog. So that first bird dog, talk about him a little bit. That was your English pointer, right? And how did you?
Well, I've actually had a couple of English.
Oh, have you? Okay, I didn't know you had more than one.
Yeah.
So yeah, so besides like DVDs, I don't know if DVDs, I don't know how long ago this was, but like books or whatever you were reading up on, how did you like just know where to start? Like, what was that process like for that first bird dog you trained?
It was hard trying to follow the videos and reading the books and what they're trying to do. It was almost like when you watch the video, sometimes it was like, you kind of thought, they're leaving something out. There's something missing. They didn't give you the whole process. And so a lot of times I had to figure stuff out on my own. And then I kind of and I got to thinking, well, I'm kind of good at this, figuring it all out. And, of course, you make mistakes and like, well, that didn't work well. We got to go back to the drawing board. But, so, like anybody, my first bird dog wasn't the sharpest, wasn't the greatest, but, at the end of the day, we relied on instincts, and, they were able to go out there and track birds, find them, point them, and I could shoot some birds, and they would retrieve them back to me. And it was very basic. Their behavior out in the field wasn't always the greatest. Sometimes I'd have a dog run off and I'd lose him and couldn't find him for an hour. You're out there trying to run around and hunt birds, and you spend more time trying to find your dog because, of course, back then there was no GPS either.
Wait, there was no Garmin back then? Come on.
There was no, dang it. I had a dang bell on my dog's neck to be able to track him.
Okay.
And that's, but once they get a few hundred yards away, you don't hear that bell anymore.
Yeah, that's
up over the next hill. It's like you go to the last place you found them, and actually what I found works is if you go ahead and shoot your gun off in the air, they'd come running back.
Oh, that's smart, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So I figured that out real quick. I'm like, shoot your gun off in the air, and then they'll come back to you.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
But so how I really, really got into training dogs is I was connected up with an old guy. And this is when I had my last bird dog, Copper. I got Copper and I got connected up with this guy, and I said, hey, how much are you going to charge me to help train my dog? I really wanted to just have a really good bird dog, not trained by me for once, somebody that knows what they're doing. And this old guy, he gave me a deal. He's like, let me tell you what. He goes, I'm training 4 or 5 bird dogs on a given weekend, and it's just me. I need help. So if you come out on weekends and you help me train these 5 other dogs that I'm working, and I will not only help you train your dog, I'll teach you everything I know about training bird dogs. On. So that's where I got my knowledge of training bird dogs. And I always say, it may not be the right way, it may not be the wrong way, but it's my way.
That's well said.
And that's why I tell people. I have a lot of people that reach out on my Instagram and say, hey, I see what you do with your dog, and that's really cool. I like what you do. And I've had people that reach out to me that are here in the same community as me, say, hey, can we meet up? And I always tell people that I'm not a professional bird dog trainer, but I have a certain way of doing things, and to me, it proves to work based on what I see my dogs doing. Yeah. So I'll help guys get started with their dogs, but I don't help them finish them because that's about as far as I go. I'm not out to ruin someone else's dog.
You know your limitations.
I know my limitations, and I'm not going to make somebody think that I can, on my own dogs, it's my dog. So if I screw it up, it's my dog and it's on me. But my dog Copper turned out really well. I was very pleased with him. And now that I have Charlie, he's doing really, really well. Just awesome. Really pleased with him. And I learned something from another gentleman I reached out to. It's actually the gentleman that I bought Charlie from. And I said, what's the one piece of advice you could give me on training my dog? And he said, put him on as many birds as you possibly can as early as you can. And so I've got videos on my Instagram that people can look at. I have Charlie out there at 10 weeks old pointing and retrieving quail.
Nice.
And a lot of that's just mostly his natural instincts and just bringing it out by putting him on lots of birds at a young age.
Yeah,
and,
at that stage, you're not really training. You're just giving them the opportunity to.
That's all you're doing. Is you're drawing out that instinct. You're just making it thrive. And there's no training whatsoever. It's just I got pen raised quail from a guy here, and they wouldn't fly worth a darn. They would just kind of flutter around, which was perfect for a little puppy. And I would just put him out in the field, and he'd run around, and he'd find them and point them, and he pretty much started bringing them back to me on his own.
Nice, all natural. There you go.
Just all natural, and so, I've had Charlie on a ton of birds. I take him out in the.
So I'm sorry. I was going to ask, how old is Charlie now?
Charlie is about 3.5 now. Okay. So
that's awesome. No, it looks like, from your Instagram, I know we've talked on the phone a while back. I think I reached out to you first about Steady the Shot. I saw some videos and just reached out. I'm like, hey, Doug, it was when I was just going to start the process with Gage early summer, and I was like, give me everything you got, share some wisdom with me. And so it looks like you're out there training quite a bit. What are you guys working on right now exactly?
So I'm a firm believer. I get this from having a lot of kids. I have 6 kids. They're all grown now, but I use kind of the same techniques of having little kids. It's consistency. And when we go out and train, we train a lot. We train year round here. Doesn't matter how hot it is. We'll be out at 4:00 in the morning when the sun's coming up, and we'll go out and train for 2 or 3 hours before it gets too hot. But so basically, watching the dogs work, we watch for things that they need specific work on. But when I'm out training Charlie, I'm basically out there kind of making it just like we were really hunting. Okay. I'll go out there and we'll plant 5 or 6 birds, and I'll run them through the paces on all 5 or 6 birds, a whole, point, flush, shoot. Sometimes we have, pinch collars on them with leads to put pressure on them when they're wanting to take off early or whatever, and just recorrect them, stuff like that. But basically, I'm doing almost the same thing, and just that constant exposure. And we'll put a twist in it once in a while and change things up. Put a bird in a launcher and launch the bird up, or sometimes I'll have extra birds in a bag, and we'll let one bird flush up and make them hold steady, and then throw a couple other birds up in the air, and throw a couple of twisters at them to see what they're gonna do.
Yeah, you gotta challenge them, because dogs are very. Oh yeah, they will catch on to I call it the game. If you plant the bird in the same spot or the same field, or they're gonna pick up on. Sure, I go to that bush or that area.
Exactly. Yeah, you have to change locations a lot. Go to different fields and place birds in different places, or they figure it out real quick.
Very like probably 2 times. I actually recently made the mistake of taking Gage somewhere 2 times with a planted bird, and I planted the bird in a somewhat of a different location, not that far from each other. And that second time I took him out, he just acted differently. He's like, "Oh, I was here a couple days ago." It was just like he knew already, knew the drill, knew the game.
Yeah, they get confident and they get confident and then they get cautious.
100%. 100%.
And so it's like, okay, we got to change things up now, because you can just tell by their body language.
It's all body language. They're like, "Oh, I've done this before. I've been here before. I know this tree. I know this line." Yeah, they figured it out pretty quick. Hey, so with Charlie, remind me, do you have him, is it steady to wing shot fall?
So no, I have him steady to shot only. Okay. And, it's a personal preference. And basically, here's what I've run into. I have had, at one point, when I had my dog Copper, I had him steady to wing shot fall. And as you know, it takes a lot of work to get a dog to that point. And what I found was happening is, if you like to go out hunting with another group of guys and their dogs are not trained to steady wing shot fall, your dog is sitting there watching these dogs take off after the covey of quail or whatever you're hunting on the flush or on the shot or whatever the case may be. And your dog, after seeing that a couple of times, your dog's like, screw this, I'm going too. So I've ran into this and I'm like, you know what?
Screw it.
Screw it. And I'm sure there's probably guys out there that train their dogs are like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. My dog's steady to wing shot fall all day long. But that's just my personal experience. So,
hey, that's good. You got to do what works for you. You have to.
You know what? And I'm not one of these die-hard dog training guys, and I'm not die-hard on my dogs. I try to there's certain things I want, but I keep it pretty basic. And, I can keep Charlie I can keep him steady to wing shot fall pretty easily. He does really good with that, and he's very obedient with it, and it just works for us.
That's great. I'm going to ask you kind of a technical question. I don't think I've asked anyone this before on the steady to shot, because I'm taking Gage through wing shot fall currently. Uh-huh. So I haven't done the shot part. I may, after I want to do a trial with him this year, just a personal goal I have. I want to do a trial. After that, I may revert back to just letting him go on the shot. How are you training to go on the shot exactly? So say you've done the groundwork, all that. How do you cue the dog to break on a gunshot?
So we start out with leads and pinch collars. So we're taking the dogs around we use pigeons mostly, and we got them, and we'll have them there. And when you bring a dog in and let him go, let him do his thing naturally, go on point naturally, and you basically leave the lead at just a slack, so there's no pressure. And I watch when I'm doing this, I'm watching the dog's body language. I'm watching the muscles in his legs, and I'm waiting for that twitch. Because what I'm looking for is I want to put pressure on the dog at the same time that dog is thinking about bolting and taking off after the bird. So as soon as that bird starts to go up, we pull pressure on the lead, put pressure on the pinch collar, and we just whoa them. And it's just constant all the time. And that's how we start them. And we'll do that for a couple of months. And then after that, what you start doing is you do the same process, but you quit putting pressure on the pinch collar or the lead and let the bird rise, and then let the shot go off. And at that point in time, what your hope is you've done it enough times that they've learned and they know, oh, I can't go yet. So, and that's where I've gotten other dogs from, and that's how I've done the process. Is it's just all pressure. They're learning from the pressure that this is when I can go, and so the pressure comes off when the bird hits the ground. And so even if the gun shoots off, he doesn't bolt off right away. He will wait until he actually sees the bird hit the ground, and then he'll go after it. So, yes. So, and that's how I've I've done it. It's just a timing and pressure and consistency
sounds like
to get him to that point.
Sounds like the timing's really key.
You gotta correct them about the same time they're thinking about leaving. And that's the key right there of getting him where you want him is it's timing.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well,
so
Charlie's looking good, man. I've seen some of your videos, and he's looking like he's ready for season here.
Oh, I love training bird dogs. There's something about training your own dog and then watching that unfold when you're out hunting in the field. It's to me, for me personally, it's very rewarding, and it's something very special because there's your dog, you trained him, and there he is out there performing out in the field and doing everything that you want him to. It's awesome.
I agree. I agree. I'm going to jump to something random right now, but you recently put out I call it a hype video. Is this right? You did kind of a Doug Davis hype video. This thing was pretty dang cool.
A little teaser.
Yeah, man. It's got me pumped. I was pretty cool. Well, how'd that come about?
So you know what? All that is my daughter is starting her own videography business. And she went and got her drones and all of her photography equipment. And she wanted to, she's always tinkered around in photography and done stuff. So anyway, but she got all new equipment, this new drone, and she wanted to go out there. She goes, "Dad, when are you going to go out again with Charlie?" And she says, "I want to come with you." And so she came out there with us, and she did all that videoing.
That's awesome. I did not know that.
And did all the drone footage, and she edited it all up and put music to it, and then she threw it on Reels, and I didn't even. She's like, "I'm going to put it on Reels." I'm like, "Oh,
what's
that?" I'm just now learning what Reels is. I'm like, oh, okay. And so she put it out there, and it's gotten like almost 6,000 views or whatever. But
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it turned out pretty dang cool. In fact, she's doing it. She's actually editing another one right now.
Oh, very cool.
So there should be another one. There should be another one coming out.
That's very, very convenient to have one of your kids and do photography and film. That's awesome.
I just got to convince her to put some hunting boots on and come out quail hunting with us.
There you go.
We might put Project Upland out of business. I don't know.
So we got to slow down here. Slow down one step at a time. Watch out, AJ Gerosa. That's awesome, man.
No,
that's awesome.
We're just having fun. I'm not much of an in front of the camera guy,
sure.
But but that was it gave her some experience with her equipment.
Sure.
And we had some fun.
Everyone benefits from that. That's awesome. Just give me kind of an overview. What's your fall schedule looking like as far as hunting? Are you, so when this is going to air, this is probably going to be, I know you're doing a grouse trip in September. So this might be after your grouse trip, but then rest of the fall for you, what's it going to kind of look like?
So, Gambles and Scale Quail open up October 15th this year. So I'll be going out opening weekend for that, and probably be hunting mostly Gambles quail most of the time. And then I believe it's December 3rd. Mearns Quail opens. I plan on spending a good amount of time doing that. It's Mearns country is probably about 3.5 hours from my house. So I don't get down there as much as I'd like to, but my goal this year is to spend more time there than I have in the past. And then about January 12th, we have plans to go back up to Utah and hunting chucker with Matt Davis of Final Rise. If everything comes together, hopefully we'll be hunting up there. So
that's exciting, man.
And yeah, and then back to Arizona and probably hunting more Mearns and more Gambles and Scalies. The season ends, I believe, February 15th, something like that.
So you got a nice long season.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yes, it's pretty nice.
Couple questions. So season opens. So you said October 15th, something like that. Is it still hot as heck down there in Arizona?
Middle of October, yes. You're still in the 90s as a high. So me personally, I like to go in elevations a little bit higher. You'll find Gambel's quail up as high as about 5,000 feet. And so I'll go up into elevations a little higher to where it's quite a bit cooler in the morning than it is in the desert floor. And you can at least get 2 or 3 hours of hunting in before it gets too hot and the rattlesnakes start coming back out. And that's pretty much how it is until probably end of November into December. Then you start into November, you start getting into the 80s, 70s.
Okay. So a little better.
A little better. Yeah. December and January is prime hunting time in Arizona.
Okay.
For upland birds.
That's what I've heard.
Especially for Mearns, it is absolutely perfect, beautiful weather up there.
That's awesome. So getting into the 3 different quail species that you have down there, would love to give people kind of an overview. Talk about each of the 3 birds, if you don't mind, and just a little bit of just describe their habitat, because it sounds like, from the little I know, Mearns are the kind of high country mountain-ish birds. So
we'll start with Mearns. Mearns is in a little bit higher country. They're in a combination of tall grass and oaks. They are typically right around between 4,000 and 5,000 foot elevation. The last couple of years, it's actually snowed up there in Mearns country in January, which was kind of cool. It was pretty nice. So they like to be in a combination of tall grass, and they like to be in the oak savannas, up underneath the oak trees. And they like to feed. They feed on root bulbs, insects, different kinds of seeds. You will primarily find them. They like to be on the northern sides of sloping hills, canyons. Mearns have really big claws on their feet, and it's because that's what they use. They do a lot of digging for their food. And kind of one thing to look for when you're hunting in Mearns country is you'll find these little, almost perfectly round holes about the size of a softball and scratch marks. And if you find that, you know there's probably Mearns in there. Wow. So that's one good tell sign to know you're in the right spot.
Okay, right on.
Is fresh scratches and those little burrows that they make. So yeah, they and like I said, north side of slopes. A lot of times they'll be down in drainages where there's washes.
Okay.
That kind of thing. So, go ahead.
So, it sounds like a pretty rugged terrain. We're talking about some of those oaks and trees and drainages. Sounds like a pretty mountain-ish rugged bird.
It is mountainish, and it can, depending on how crazy you want to get, you can get in some pretty nasty canyons. And if you're willing to put the work in and hike and get into some, pretty remote areas, the better your chances of getting into some decent coveys.
Nice.
So,
all right.
Yeah, it's a lot of hard. It's a good workout.
Oh, I bet. I bet there is. All right.
It's a lot of up and down.
Yeah, I'm sure. So
I don't think it's anything like chucker hunting, but it's probably close.
Chucker's probably another level for sure. Let's go to gambles or scaled.
So Gamble's quail, we call them here in Arizona, we call them desert birds because that's what they mostly are. They're in desert scrub. They're in, they like to be in the cactus landscape. They like to be in prickly pear. They especially like to be in cholla cactus. You don't want to mess with cholla cactus. You do not want to take your dog in cholla cactus. It's an absolute nightmare. They call it jumping chollas because they literally, you literally walk by them or just barely brush them and they just grab you. And yeah, they get all over your dog, and then your dog tries to bite them off and it gets all over their mouth. It's a horrible experience. So anybody who's wanting to come to Arizona and hunt, stay away from the cholla. It's a bad experience.
I will Google what it looks like.
So anyway, but the gambles, they like to be, like I said earlier, you can find them up towards as much as 4,500 foot sea level. They like prickly pear. Basically, it's a cactus that looks shaped like a pear. So they also love to be down in washes that are lined with trees and heavy brush. That's where you'll find them most of the time. Gamble's quail do not require a ton of water. So, the whole idea of, I've got to find water to find the quail. Quail can be a long ways away from water. But also they have ways of locating water that are like down in the sand in the washes, or just dew on the plants.
Okay.
Morning dew from the plants. And as far as food, same thing. They eat insects, bulbs from roots, berries if they're around. Sometimes there's little bulbs and flowers that sprout off of some of the cactus that they'll eat off of. So yeah, that's gamble quail. Usually they require to have a good season, and they thrive well. They need a good winter spring rainfall.
Okay.
So that's kind of determines their how well their broods are going to turn out.
When you say winter spring for Arizona, is that February, March time?
So yeah, ideally you want to see rainfall going on from about November all the way through April.
Okay.
So
very nice. Did you guys have? We'll get to the scale in a second. Did you guys have a decent rainfall this past season? Or yeah, I guess so. Before last hunting season, did you have a good rainfall leading into that?
So year before last, it was pretty decent, and it was probably one of the best years of gamble quail hunting we've had in quite some time. This last year was pretty bad. It's been a pretty drought-stricken year. So, I mean, there's still parts of Arizona that did get some decent rainfall, but not widespread.
Okay. All right. Then how about the scaled quail? How do they differ from the gambles?
So scaled quail, they're going to be, you'll still find them in desert areas, but it's a mixture of desert cactus and then almost going into where they're rolling grassy hills, tall grass. You will sometimes get lucky, and sometimes you will find both Gambel's quail and scaly quail. They'll actually be in the same area sometimes. Okay. You get lucky enough you can get both those species within the same area. So scalies they're a lot like Mearns quail. They require a lot of summer rain.
Okay. So sounds good. Sounds like drought has been a big theme this year. Not just up out west and all that. It sounds like drought has been maybe an issue all around.
Yeah,
but I'm sure I'm optimistic. I know that's just my. And it's funny because I'm not typically an optimistic person, but I'm choosing to be optimistic this year about chasing birds. I think it'll be good. And regardless of bird numbers, I think it beats sitting at home watching.
It's like anything. I think you might have to get out and do some hiking and do some boot leather hunting and really work some areas. You're gonna find birds. You just may have to work to find them. You may not find a bunch of coveys, and you may not find a large amount of coveys in groups. This last year, I think every time I went out and hunted, the coveys were a little smaller. And, you had to work to go find them and get them.
Absolutely. If someone's coming out to hunt Arizona this year, what's probably your biggest piece of advice that you would share with them?
If you're coming out here, like I said, I would say I'd be ready to walk, be ready to hike. Like I said, go find areas that are where there's a lot of washes. That's where you're going to find the best luck. Wear brush pants because out here everything pokes you, sticks you, and hurts you.
Sounds painful.
So, and it's probably going to be warmer than what you're used to.
Okay.
But people that are coming from other states might find that inviting because it's, you're not hunting in a blizzard or, 10 below zero. It's, you're hunting in the morning where it might be in the 40s, and by the middle of the day, it's in the 60s.
Okay. That sounds pretty nice. In January, that sounds pretty nice.
It's not bad. It's not bad. It's kind of nice. The dogs get a little hot, so if you're bringing dogs, have a lot of water on hand because it's still a little warm for the dogs.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, we've in Colorado, we've been getting a couple cooler mornings, and it's been great. I'm out there in like a light hoodie, the dogs are still, they're still hot, and I'm like, oh dang.
Yeah.
So it's always, they just run so much warmer than we do. Well, they're working harder too, but Doug, let's I wanted to ask you about actually just land access real quick. Is land is it a lot of public land in Arizona?
There is a lot of public land. There's a lot of state trust land.
Okay.
And there is a lot of BLM land.
Okay.
So, use your trusty Onyx map and start doing your e-scouting before you come out here. Yeah. And like I said, for Gambel's quail are probably in 3/4 of the state of Arizona.
Okay. Oh wow.
They're pretty widespread. They're pretty widespread all over Arizona, except for into the higher elevations and into the pines kind of thing. But low desert, high desert, you're going to find Gambel's quail all over the place. Scalies are a little bit more confined and spotty out towards this southern part of Arizona, kind of neighboring where the Mearns quail are. Okay. So
nice. Well, I'm coming out in. I told you I'm coming out in January, so I haven't been doing a ton of e-scouting yet. It's a little far away, but I am super excited. Never been to Arizona before, and I'm looking forward to it.
You know what? I've gone out. I do just like everybody else does. I've gone out and just hit the hills, and I found them.
That's good.
I didn't have anybody pointing the way, or I just read and studied up on where they like to be, what they like to eat, and their behaviors. And I just started going out hiking, looking for signs, and I found them.
That's awesome.
So they're out there.
Very rewarding feeling when you can just kind of figure something out. You do the research, you get some knowledge on the bird, and then you just walk and find them. That's one of the most rewarding feelings.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's like anything. It's like there's guys that have their treasured areas that probably are loaded with quail and lots of coveys. And if you can find those, that's great. But to me, it's just being out there. Yeah. It's just being out there and looking for them. And you know what? If most of the time I get in on little coveys, I've never gotten anything more than maybe 4 or 5 covey of quail, especially when Mearns. Okay. Mearns are usually small coveys. Okay. A lot of times you'll find pairs or 3s or 4s, and not huge coveys. And when you're hiking and working all day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many or what the size. It's like, hey, my dog finally got on them, and we finally found them. Yeah. So there's been days I've hiked all day and walked 10 miles and came home with one bird in the bag. Yeah. And I loved every minute of it.
That's when this thing we call upland hunting. That's when it truly is just, you're doing it because you love it and it's a passion. When you can go out and you don't shoot a bird, and you just got to be out there with your dog. Maybe you're just getting to see them work a field, whatever they're doing, and there's still a smile on your face. That's when you kind of know, okay, this is it.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people come out here seeking the Mearns quail. It's like the crown jewel of quail. Really? Yeah, it's they're the mature adult males are, if you haven't ever seen one, Google it and look at them. But they're a very unique, beautiful looking bird.
Are they the ones with like the little knot on their head? Like the little.
That's the gamble.
Okay.
That's the gambles. The Merns, they have almost like a mask on their face.
Oh, okay.
It's black, brown or black and white.
I've seen those.
Mask on their face. You know, and it's almost like, this is how I am. if I can shoot just one adult male Mearns quail, to me that is like getting the trophy elk of a lifetime. I mean, they're not easy to find. There's not like there's a lot of them around. Sure. You know,
you're working for
especially for the drought we had this last year. They're going to be difficult to find. They're not going to be, I don't think they're going to be big in numbers. It's going to be mostly young first-year birds that we're going to be finding this year.
Okay. So
you're not going to get that beautiful mature mask.
Okay. So a little bit smaller, younger.
But yeah. So, but yeah, they're just, if I can come home with one of those, I'm just I'm as happy as can be.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I want to move on to something new. I was going to kind of try with some of my guests here and there is just have you give me kind of your own off the cuff review. I kind of asked you ahead of time to maybe pick one or two pieces of gear that you picked up maybe this past season, this summer, even that you're just really excited about. Give me kind of your review on what those, that piece of gear is, and just tell us kind of your thoughts on it. And again, real quick, because people are going to bombard me. This is not sponsored. This is just two guys talking about gear that they love. So go ahead.
So, yeah, you want to talk about, you talk about that. So, the first one I got to talk about is the Final Rise vest.
Yeah, go for it.
I mean, I probably have owned at least 6 or 7 vests that I can think of right now. And the Final Rise vest is just amazing. And like you said, I've had people reach out on Instagram like, are you like a salesperson or for Final Rise? Because I'm always talking about the Final Rise vest. I make, just so you know, everybody out there, I make no money off of the Final Rise vest.
Good clarification.
But I'm the kind of person, when I get a piece of merchandise and I like it and everything about it, I will get on mountaintops to spread the word. I mean, I want everybody to experience the same thing I'm experiencing. The Final Rise vest. The biggest thing I like about the Final Rise vest overall is the belt system is just like the belt system you'd find on a $700-800 backpack.
Yeah, big, like a big game pack. Yeah. It hugs your hips and it keeps all of that weight off of your shoulders. I've had so many dang vests that you weight them down with water, shells, and at the end, and at the end of the day, there's 4 or 5 birds in the bag. That thing just digs into your shoulder, and it's digging into your hips because it's such a skinny little belt that they put on those things. But the Final Rise, the way Matt designed that thing, it keeps almost all the weight off your shoulders, and you can just carry tons of water, tons of shells. I love the thing. It has just been the best pack that I've ever seen or worn in a long time. There's a lot of. Are you rocking the Summit vest or the Legacy?
It's the Summit.
Okay. The OG, the original. There
Yeah.
you go. There you go.
Yep. The original. So, and I've slowly gotten things added to it. I put straps on it that I can put, when gets warm in the day and you want to take off a jacket, I can cinch down extra layers of clothing. I've got bought a couple of extra storage pockets. I can put first aid kits and stuff in.
Have you ran the bladder, like the water hose and the bladder in it, or are you just rocking the bottles for a while?
I have a bladder.
Okay. How do you like that? I haven't tried a bladder in mine yet.
I love it. It just it reassures me that I have more water if I need it for me and the dogs. Especially these packs are designed for you to be gone all day out in the middle of nowhere. And when you never really know how far away from the truck you're going to be or how long you're going to be gone, I always, especially in Arizona where it's warmer, I like to be carrying a lot of water.
Yeah, you cannot have too much water, that's for sure.
So it's, I don't think I've ever ran out of water yet. I've come close. And that's being gone, literally hunting all day long.
Okay.
But yeah, so
that's awesome, man. One of the features I've initially I had a couple other of my favorite features of the vest, and one I've come to love more recently is the shoulder straps, and just the thinness, that little it's not padding, like almost the little grip that's on the front of the shoulders.
Yeah.
It's crafted well. It's super, super thin. And I've been practicing gun mount.
Yeah, he made it that way. He made it that way so you could have an unobstructed a natural gun mount every time with nothing messing up your gun mount. And it's
pretty slick.
Yeah.
Again, this is not sponsored, people. Whoever's listening to this, I am not sponsored. I bought my vest. I paid for all the accessories. I paid for it all. And I will gladly do that. It's just, I like supporting his company. I like supporting Matt. I think he's a hard worker and just putting out a great product too.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. It's one of the best pieces of Upland equipment that I have seen in a long time. I feel fortunate to be a part of this right now. I have gone so long being in upland hunting since, for, oh my gosh, the last, I guess, 25, 30 years. Just the last couple of years, all of a sudden it's just exploded with new technology and new ideas and lighter equipment. And when you're a guy that's gone old school and worn the heaviest and the most uncomfortable of equipment to the stuff we're seeing now is amazing. It is so much easier you can hunt better, more efficiently.
You're just more comfortable too. I mean, and not to.
Oh yeah,
again, I'm not one to. I don't want to try to. For new guys out there, I don't want it to seem. Oh, you have to have all the stuff. You have to have, whatever it might be.
No, it's taken me years.
It just is more comfortable, and it might take you years to. Get that stuff, and so anyone out there don't feel like you have to rush and get all this stuff.
Yeah, no. It's definitely worth. If you're looking for a piece of equipment and you go, I want to save my money and to get something, this vest will literally change the way you hunt.
I agree.
That's how I've even joked with people. I'll be out hunting and see other guys wearing these vests that were out in the market from 5 or 6 years ago. And under my breath, I'll go, I really feel sorry for him.
That's cold, man. That's cold.
he 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 needs the final rise vest. It'll change his life.
We needed to carry an extra one in our truck for someone we meet out there. Be like, hey,
you know,
that'd be kind of nice.
I think
Bless a hunter.
I don't know how many I've actually. I know I've referred over a couple of dozen people to Matt for that vest. I don't know how many people have actually bought it, but
that's awesome.
So anyway,
good.
it's
that's
good
awesome.
like
second, did you have a second piece of gear you wanted to talk about?
So my second piece of gear, I'm gonna go with a pair of boots that I got.
Okay.
And it's probably on the list of people have never even heard of or know of. I don't know. But so my brother used to be, or still is, I guess, and he used to be an avid backpacker. I mean, he'd go backpacking in the backcountry in the middle of nowhere for a week. And when I was going around trying to find a boot, and I've been, like I said, just like the vest, I've been through dozens of boots, and just nothing out there really just was, impressing me. And what I wanted in a boot, and for the country that I hunt in most of the time, especially Mearns country, and for chucker hunting, he turned me on to, they're not a hunting boot, they're a backpacking boot. They're called the Zamberland Viaz Lux GTX Hiker.
Okay.
And so I went on his recommendation and I bought these boots. This last year is the first year I wore them for an entire season, and I love these things. I mean, your feet feel like they're sitting on clouds in those boots all day long. And it's the soles have these big, they have the big Lux, they have forward rockers on them. So when you're walking, you actually feel yourself propelling and pivoting forward. Oh, wow. It's a really interesting sensation. And I could actually, when I was going up and down steep hills and canyons last year, wow, what a difference than all the other boots I've ever worn before. I love them. They're an all leather boot. They're Gore-Tex. These are uninsulated. Of course, here in Arizona, it doesn't ever get really, really cold where we're going to be hunting flipping birds. Sure. But even then, you can put insulated socks on and you'd be fine.
Are they like a mid ankle support, high, low?
These particular ones are a mid ankle. Zamberland actually makes they make a line of hunting boots that are higher up on the ankle if you want them, that I believe have the same design.
Okay.
But I decided I wanted specific hiking boots, because the similarities are very close. You think about what hikers are doing, what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're carrying around that vest loaded down with water, shells, birds, or whatever. And these designs are these boots are designed to carry loads, and like a backpack. Yeah, I love them.
That's awesome, man. I've heard of Zamberline. I haven't looked into them really. I haven't tried them, but I've heard of that brand before. But they sound like awesome boots.
No, I've been through, I'm not going to name names, but I've been through a string of different kinds of boots, and I'm very happy with these.
That's great. That's really cool.
So
Well, awesome, Doug.
Yeah.
All right, so two more things to get through, and then we're gonna wrap this convo up. We're gonna go through our rapid fire questions.
All
So
right.
I'm gonna go down the list. I'm actually gonna start off with one that's not on my list. I just thought of. What
Ooh.
load or what shell are you gonna use for quail this year?
Oh man.
Ooh, it sounds like I stumped you.
So my go-to is probably going to be 20 gauge, 7.5, 1 ounce load. It's about 1,250 feet per second velocity.
Okay.
They're Federals.
Okay.
Shooting Federals.
There you go. Nice. Is that what you have used, or are you changing it this year?
I'm changing it this year. Last year, that was the other thing I should tell people is for Gamble's quail are a very tough bird. Last year I had so many dang birds where you could actually shoot them and watch them hit the ground and get up and run off.
No way.
Yeah. And I just had that happen one too many times to me last year. So this year I did a little bit more reading and decided I needed to try something a little different with a little more bang.
Okay. And so just curious, are you stepping, I guess it'd be up in shot or down in shot size? So you're getting more pellets?
I'm stepping up. More pellets and more velocity.
Okay.
So I also have a 12 gauge. I'll probably be shooting the same thing.
Okay.
In 12 gauge, 7.5. I'm gonna be spending this year playing around with some different loads.
There you go. That's awesome.
So I want to do some experimenting and try some things out. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well,
so we're talking about guns. What gun are you carrying out chasing quail this year?
I have the CZ Bob White 20 gauge.
Okay. Is that the side-by-side?
That is the side-by-side.
All right. Very nice.
Yes. It's the old English style. So it's got the double triggers. It's got the English straight stock.
Nice.
That's one of those deals where I've shot an over and under for years. And I finally got out of my comfort zone and bit the bullet and went and got this thing. And I thought, I'm just gonna try. I gotta know.
Yeah.
I gotta know. I've heard people talk about the side by side, and so I went and got one, and I love that gun.
How was the transition process? Two things: one, going from an over under side by side, but also the double trigger and the straight stock. Like, how was that so much change for you, or how'd that transition go?
So for me, the straight stock actually feels better to me.
Really?
It fits me better. I like the way it feels. I like the way the gun swings. So yeah. And then the double triggers, I don't know, the way my brain works, it was an easy transition for me to figure out the triggers.
Nice.
And just like anything, I went out and with my clay targets and my thrower, and I just started practicing the double trigger transitions. And I've actually found that I really like the double triggers. Now, I bought this gun last year to go grouse hunting. And so I took it out a few times before I went grouse hunting. And so when I went up there, and to actually sit there and be able to on the fly be able to decide if I will need to do a short shot or if I need to do a long shot first, because that double trigger is basically you're deciding which barrel you want to shoot at any given time.
Yeah.
There was a couple of times I had some long shots and I knew immediately I needed to shoot the second barrel, which is going to be
a different choke.
A different choke with a longer shot. And so on the fly with your finger already right there on the trigger, making that decision right then and then, rather than hitting that switch on the stock on the receiver, it just, for me, it worked better.
That's really cool. I never thought about that.
Yeah. So I've really come to really enjoy the double trigger idea. And there's, like I said, there's been a few times on the fly where I've decided that this is a longer shot and I just pull that trigger first.
Yeah.
So it's really come in convenient several times for me.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay. And now I actually just realized this. I was going to ask you about your favorite dog breed besides a GSP. I don't know if we mentioned that Charlie is a GSP. I think I skipped over that.
We probably didn't know. Yeah. So I'd have to go with English Pointer.
Okay. Oh, no. I'm going to back. It cannot be English Pointer and it cannot be a GSP because I know you had both of those. Sorry. Redo.
Okay. So, oh my gosh. Probably. Oh my, you really
This is where I get people.
Dang. I would probably do a setter.
Okay.
I'd probably do a setter.
Okay.
I think it would be my next thing.
Okay. Very cool. That's good. I like that. I like you making you reach for it. You could have said Brittany, but I'm not offended. I'm not offended. All right. Couple more here. Favorite bird species to hunt. And if you say quail, you have to name a specific kind of quail.
Merns.
Okay.
Merns quail.
All right. Sounds like you're pumped to go chase those. How many bird species have you hunted with Charlie?
Is that different species of quail too?
Yes, I will say different species of quail. So it could be 3 right there with Arizona quail.
So there's 3 grouse, 4 pheasant, 5 chucker, 6. So yeah, 6 species.
Okay. Nice. Do you have, this is random. Do you have wild pheasant in Arizona or is it all game farms?
No, there is a small area up near around Yuma, Arizona that holds wild quail that you have to actually put in and draw for.
Okay.
And I believe it's a bag limit of 2.
Okay. So pretty small.
Pretty small.
Okay. Just curious.
It's more of, I think it's more for everybody. It's just more of the experience.
Sure.
Than anything of being able to go hunt a wild pheasant in Arizona.
Yeah. All right. How many states have you hunted upland birds in?
Just 2.
Okay.
Arizona and Utah.
Okay. Oh yeah, you went Utah Chucker last year, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, no, I just last year was just grouse.
Okay. Very cool. All right, couple more. Solo hunt with you and your dog, or a group hunt with you and some good friends.
Let's see. Don't Kill Me. Out there to putting this out there to my buddies, Cliff Nordyke and Martin Escobar. I'm gonna say solo, and that's just because solo is very far and few between. I'm always hunting with my buddies, and very seldom do I go hunting solo. So solo is a little bit more special.
Okay. I'll take it. I'll take it. Last one in this section here. Beverage of choice after a hunt.
Oh, everybody's going to die laughing at this one. Dr. Pepper.
Oh, first one for Dr. Pepper on the podcast. I've had a couple waters recently.
Heard that one. I heard that one. Yeah.
I think
I was laughing at that
I
one.
laughed pretty hard at that one, but in reality, after a long hunt, just give me some freaking water, and that's what you need sometimes. But okay, first one for Dr. Pepper. My wife would be very happy. She's a big Dr. Pepper fan.
I'm alcoholic free, so
okay, there you go. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. All right, Doug. Last question for you. I'd like to ask every guest this: for the guy or girl out there who is heading into their first season, maybe they just picked up their first bird dog. Maybe this month they're going out for their first hunt. What is some advice you would give them going into their first season?
Don't be afraid to reach out to people either on Instagram or going to your area hunting club where they have, a lot of places they'll have field trial clubs, NASTRA, those kinds of places. Sign up to those, get involved. But yeah, I would the main thing is don't be afraid to reach out to people and ask for advice and, ask questions. We've all been there, and if anybody, I love helping people out. I love answering questions. Anyway, anything I can do to help, people are welcome to reach out to me on my Instagram, and we can talk, help you get started in the right direction for any advice or help you need.
That's awesome. What's your Instagram handle?
My Instagram handle is pointers _. Heck, I can't remember it now.
Is it
pointers _ Upland
Davis
_life. Pointers
okay.
Pointers Upland life. Sorry,
type in Doug Davis, everyone.
Pointers Upland life.
Pointers Upland life. Love it. I can just personally, I'll attest to that. What you said about reaching out for help. Again, we first connected. I reached out over Instagram, just asking you about the study process. Breaking your dog, and we jumped on a phone call. I think within a couple of days, and you kind of just talked me through it and shared some encouragement. And that really meant a lot to me. You didn't have to do that. And it was fun to connect with you.
That's how I learned. That's how I started. And I'm just returning the favor. It's a very frustrating feeling to be able to sit there and think of these things you want to do, and you don't know how to do it. You don't know where to start. You don't know where to begin. And people, if people are a lot like me, I'm like, I don't want people to think, what are they going to think when I, ask them something? Or am I an idiot for even asking this question? Am I stepping on toes? Or,
no, all those things are,
is this a secret? Is this a secret club? So no, just, yeah. And if someone gives you attitude and doesn't want to help you, move on to the next person. Because as far as I'm concerned, I think the upland hunting community is the most tight-knit, almost family-like atmosphere than any other kind of hunting I've ever been a part of.
I would agree. I haven't been around it as long as you have, but from what I've experienced, don't get me wrong, there's people out there that are a little closed off and maybe a little secretive on things, but I'm not just talking spots. I'm talking about just general knowledge of, dog training, whatever it might be.
Oh, sure.
But for the most part, the vast majority of people are like guys like you who are willing to just share, hey, it might seem simple because when I'm starting out, I look back now, I'm like, that was a good question, but in the moment, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a dumb question. I don't want to ask this. I'm gonna seem like an idiot. Mm-hmm. But it's how we all learn. It's how we all grow.
No. Like I said, we've all been there. We weren't born knowing how to do any of this.
Right. I mean, you come out as a child going, I know how to train a dog.
Yeah, it's like, so, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Doug, thank you so much for your time. It was great chatting with you more in depth, getting to know your story, talking quail. I'm sure there'll definitely be some people out there, including myself, chasing Arizona quail this year. So, and I definitely want to have you back on, talk about maybe season recap once things are settled down next year.
Yo, definitely. Thanks for having me on. It's been a lot of fun, and yeah, I'd love to catch up with you, and heck, I even want to hear your experiences as well. So
absolutely,
we'll have to have a two-sided interview. I'll ask you questions, you ask me questions.
Fair enough. We can do that. Well, awesome, Doug. Thanks again. Great chatting with you, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay.
You too. Thanks. Take care. Bye.
Well, that is a wrap of episode 26 of the Upland Rookie Podcast. Thank you so much again for tuning in. Doug, thank you. Loved sitting down with you, hearing your story, unpacking training dogs, hunting Arizona, all that good stuff. Really, really appreciate it. Hey guys, until next week, remember, if you can't hunt over a Brittany, any bird dog is better than no bird dog. Just go put some miles on those boots and have fun.